السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Today, we explore one of the most profound and often overlooked topics in Islamic knowledge, the creation of the Jinn, their unseen world, and the story of Azazil, who would later become Iblis, the Cursed One. This is a story that not only delves into the unseen, but also teaches timeless lessons about obedience, free will, humility, and the consequences of pride. Before we begin, we invite you to share where you are watching from in the comments. This allows us to connect across the world, united by our curiosity and devotion to learning about Allah's creation. If your heart seeks knowledge of the unseen, wisdom, and guidance from Allah, then make sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share your thoughts below. Today, we embark on a journey into a realm that exists alongside our own, the world of the Jinn. And we examine the story of one Jinn, Azazil, whose choices serve as a stark reminder of the consequences of pride and disobedience. Before Allah created humans, He created another form of life known as the Jinn. The Quran clearly states, "And He created the Jinn from a smokeless flame of fire." Al-Hijr 15:27. This reveals that the Jinn are a unique creation, distinct from humans and angels. Angels are created from light, humans from clay, and Jinn from fire. Each creation reflects Allah's infinite wisdom, demonstrating that His creative power is beyond human comprehension. The very substance from which the Jinn were created, fire, is inherently powerful and dynamic, yet Allah willed a being capable of thought, choice, and moral responsibility from it. Unlike angels, Jinn possess free will. This means they can choose between obedience and disobedience, righteousness and sin. They are capable of reasoning, understanding, and making moral decisions. Allah tests them, just as He tests humans, to determine who among them submits and who rebels. This concept is emphasized in the Quran, "And we created the Jinn before from scorching fire." Al-Hijr 15:27. The existence of the Jinn demonstrates that life is not limited to what humans perceive. They inhabit a world parallel to ours, mostly invisible, yet very real. Jinn have their own societies, social structures, and hierarchies. They form families, establish communities, and engage in affairs similar to humans. Some are believers, devoted to the worship of Allah, while others follow their base desires and commit sins. They can experience complex emotions such as love, loyalty, hatred, envy, and pride. Their lives are a test of their obedience and their relationship with Allah. The creation of Jinn from fire also serves as a profound lesson for humans. Fire, by nature, is destructive and untouchable for humans without harm. Yet Allah created from it a being capable of thought, emotion, and morality. This teaches us that Allah's power is limitless and that His wisdom manifests in ways we often fail to understand. It reminds us that the unseen world is vast and humans are only a small part of the larger divine plan. Allah created both humans and Jinn for a single purpose, to worship Him. The Quran states, "And I did not create the Jinn and mankind except to worship me." Ad-Dhariyat 51:56. While humans were placed on earth as caretakers, entrusted with responsibility and stewardship, the Jinn were given the unseen realms where they could roam freely yet remain accountable to Allah. Some Jinn choose to observe humans, sometimes influencing them for good or misguiding them for evil, but always under Allah's permission. This highlights the reality that the universe is far more intricate and layered than what we perceive with our senses. Understanding the creation of Jinn is also a lesson in humility. Humans, despite their intelligence, knowledge, and power on earth, are reminded that there are creations beyond their perception. Knowledge, status, and control are meaningful only when aligned with Allah's guidance. The existence of the Jinn emphasizes the importance of submitting to Allah, following His commands, and seeking His pleasure.
Moreover, reflecting on the creation of the jinn inspires contemplation about the scope of Allah's wisdom. If creatures with intellect and free will existed before humans, what does that tell us about the magnitude of Allah's knowledge, planning, and justice? How careful should we be with our own actions, knowing that every choice carries consequence, and that Allah observes all, both seen and unseen?
This reflection should strengthen our awareness of accountability, obedience, and humility. Humans have a unique responsibility as Allah's vicegerents on earth. But even we must remember that there are other intelligent beings who were tested before us. Some succeeded, some failed, and their stories, like that of Azazil, serve as lessons for our guidance. The creation of jinn also challenges us to acknowledge the limits of human understanding. Just because something is unseen does not make it unreal. The Quran and authentic hadith repeatedly remind us of the unseen realms, urging humans to recognize their existence and the moral implications of their interactions with these beings. Through understanding the creation of the jinn, we learn not only about another aspect of Allah's creation, but also about our own responsibilities. It is a call to reflect deeply on the nature of obedience, the dangers of pride and arrogance, and the importance of living a life aligned with divine guidance. The jinn live in a world parallel to ours, one that is largely invisible but very real. Unlike humans who inhabit the earth openly and visibly, jinn occupy spaces that are often remote, hidden, or inhospitable. They are known to inhabit deserts, mountains, ruins, abandoned places, and sometimes even the skies. Their existence is subtle yet intertwined with the human world in ways we may not always perceive. Jinn are intelligent beings with their own societies, communities, and social hierarchies. Some jinn are righteous, devoted to the worship of Allah and obedient to His commands. Others are rebellious, acting according to their desires and committing sins. This duality in their nature mirrors the human experience, emphasizing that free will carries both responsibility and consequences. The Quran confirms the existence of these communities, stating, "And among us are the righteous, and among us are others not so. We were of divided ways." Al-Jinn 72:11. This verse highlights that jinn, like humans, are a test of obedience. Some follow the guidance of Allah, while others follow misguidance. Their societies include rulers, elders, and systems of leadership, showing that they possess organization and social intelligence. Just as humans form communities, the jinn live collectively, communicate with one another, and sometimes influence each other's choices, whether for good or evil. Jinn can observe humans, and some are capable of interacting with the human world in subtle ways. They may whisper ideas, temptations, or doubts into hearts, or they may assist or protect humans if Allah allows it. However, these interactions are limited and always under Allah's control. They cannot act independently to change the divine plan, and humans remain accountable for their own decisions. Some jinn are believers, known as Muslim jinn, who dedicate their lives to worship and obedience. They pray, fast, and follow the commands of Allah, just like humans. Others, however, are rebellious, led by Iblis and his followers, and work to misguide humanity. This division among the jinn demonstrates that free will is a test. Obedience leads to reward, and disobedience leads to punishment. The world of the jinn also includes physical and supernatural abilities beyond human capacity. Many jinn can travel great distances quickly, change shape, become invisible, and even assume forms resembling humans or animals. These abilities serve as a reminder of Allah's power and creativity in creation. Yet, despite these extraordinary abilities, they remain accountable for their choices, reinforcing the principle that power alone does not equate to righteousness. Human interaction with the jinn has always existed, though often in subtle or unrecognized ways.
There are historical accounts and hadiths showing that certain jinn were guided by prophets, learned from humans, or even became Muslim through hearing the message of Islam. However, other jinn remained rebellious and sought to misguide mankind. This interaction is a continuous reminder that the unseen world is real and that humans must remain vigilant in their faith and practice.
Understanding the world of the jinn encourages humans to reflect on their own responsibilities. If there exist beings with intellect, emotions, and free will who were created before us, how much greater is Allah's knowledge and the scope of His creation? Their unseen presence emphasizes humility, reminding humans not to become arrogant or complacent and to recognize the accountability inherent in every choice we make. Ultimately, the world of the jinn teaches us that Allah's creation is vast and complex. Humans are not alone, and the unseen realm contains beings that, like us, are tested by Allah. Observing their world, understanding their abilities, and learning from their successes and failures should inspire humans to worship Allah sincerely, live righteously, and seek protection from misguidance and temptation. Among the jinn, there was a being known as Azazil. He was distinguished for his devotion, knowledge, and apparent piety. Before the creation of Adam, Azazil was among the most respected beings in the unseen realms. He was knowledgeable about divine matters and held in high regard due to his consistent acts of worship and obedience. When Allah created Adam, He commanded all beings capable of prostration to do so as a mark of respect and recognition of Allah's wisdom. The Quran narrates this event. And we said to the angels, "Prostrate to Adam," and they prostrated, except Iblis. He refused and was arrogant and became among the disbelievers. Al-Baqarah 234. Azazil, who would later be known as Iblis, refused to obey. He argued that he was superior to Adam because he was created from fire, while Adam was made from clay. This act of arrogance marked the beginning of his rebellion against Allah's command. He refused to submit, despite his knowledge of Allah and the divine order, allowing pride to blind his judgment. His refusal was not a trivial matter. Prostration was not an act of worship to Adam, but a command from Allah, a test of obedience. Azazil's pride and arrogance led him to disobey, demonstrating that even knowledge and devotion are meaningless if they are accompanied by pride and disobedience. The consequences of Azazil's disobedience were immediate and severe. Allah asked him, "What prevented you from prostrating when I commanded you?" He responded arrogantly, justifying his refusal and showing no remorse. Because of this rebellion, Allah cursed him and expelled him from His mercy, transforming him into Iblis, the enemy of mankind. From that moment, Iblis vowed to mislead humans, exploiting their weaknesses and tempting them into sin. He became the first shaitan, a source of whispering and deception, whose mission is to divert humans from the path of righteousness. Yet even in his rebellion, Allah granted him respite until the day of judgment, testing humanity through his influence. The story of Azazil teaches several key lessons. First, obedience to Allah is paramount. Knowledge, devotion, and status cannot replace submission to the Creator. Second, arrogance leads to destruction. Azazil's pride, despite his previous piety, caused his downfall. Third, this story underscores the principle of free will. Beings capable of moral choice are accountable for their actions. The fall of Azazil also demonstrates the contrast between humans and jinn. While both are tested by Allah, humans are given guidance through prophets and scriptures, and they have the ability to seek forgiveness and rectify their mistakes. Azazil, however, chose defiance and became a permanent symbol of rebellion against Allah. This story is not merely historical. It serves as a warning to every human being. Pride, arrogance, and disobedience are dangerous traits that can lead to ruin, regardless of one's previous knowledge, worship, or accomplishments. Reflecting on Azazil's story, we are reminded of the importance of humility, obedience, and sincere devotion.
Humans, unlike Iblis, have the opportunity to repent, seek guidance, and attain Allah's mercy. His story serves as a mirror for our own actions, urging us to examine our hearts and ensure that we do not fall into similar arrogance or defiance.
The refusal of Azazil to obey Allah's command to prostrate to Adam led to his complete fall from grace. Initially, Azazil was a being of great status among the Jinn, known for his knowledge, devotion, and perceived piety. Yet, despite these qualities, his arrogance and pride overpowered his reason and submission to Allah. This illustrates that rank, knowledge, or previous devotion cannot save one from the consequences of disobedience. Allah questioned Azazil about his refusal, and Allah said, "O Iblis, what prevented you from prostrating to that which I created?" Al-A'raf 7:12. Azazil replied with arrogance, claiming superiority due to his fiery origin and belittling Adam's clay. This response reflected a complete rejection of Allah's wisdom. His pride led him to rebel openly, marking the first act of defiance in the unseen realm. As a consequence, Allah cursed him and expelled him from paradise, transforming him into Iblis, the enemy of mankind. His fall was not simply a punishment, it also marked the beginning of his mission to misguide humans and jinn who follow the path of sin. Iblis vowed, "I will mislead them all except your sincere servants." Al-Hijr 15:39-40. This declaration shows that Iblis's rebellion is ongoing and targeted. His aim is to distract, tempt, and deceive humans and jinn alike, exploiting their weaknesses, doubts, and desires. Yet even in his defiance, he remains under Allah's control. He cannot act beyond Allah's will, nor can he force anyone into sin. His influence is a test for human beings, a test of obedience, patience, and reliance on Allah. The fall of Azazil teaches several profound lessons. First, obedience to Allah is absolute. Even knowledge, devotion, or previous good deeds cannot justify disobedience. Second, arrogance and pride are destructive. Azazil's belief in his superiority led to his downfall. Third, it underscores the concept of accountability. Every being with free will, whether jinn or human, is responsible for their choices, and no one can escape Allah's judgment. The story of Iblis also explains the ongoing challenge humans face in life. He is the originator of whispering, deception, and temptation. He continuously seeks to misguide humanity by influencing hearts and minds. However, the Quran reassures believers that Allah has provided guidance, prophets, and scriptures to help humans resist these temptations. Free will allows humans to choose, and their choices determine their fate. Finally, the fall of Azazil emphasizes the importance of humility and vigilance. Humans must guard their hearts against pride, arrogance, and disobedience. Unlike Iblis, humans have the ability to repent, seek forgiveness, and realign their actions with Allah's guidance. This opportunity is a mercy and a privilege, showing the balance between divine justice and mercy. Reflecting on this story, every believer should ask themselves, are my actions aligned with Allah's commands? Do I guard my heart against pride and arrogance? Am I using my free will to obey Allah and seek His pleasure? The story of Azazil is a timeless warning, reminding humans of the dangers of disobedience and the importance of humility, submission, and constant self-reflection. The story of Azazil and the creation of the jinn brings us to a central lesson in Islam, the purpose of creation and the role of free will. Allah created both humans and jinn with intellect, choice, and moral responsibility. The Quran emphasizes this purpose clearly. "And I did not create the jinn and mankind except to worship me." Ad-Dhariyat 51:56. Worship in Islam is not limited to ritual acts alone. It encompasses submission, obedience, moral conduct, and the alignment of one's life with Allah's guidance.
Every action, intention, and decision becomes a part of worship when done in accordance with divine guidance. Free will is a gift that distinguishes humans and jinn from angels. Angels are beings who always obey Allah without question, because they lack free choice. Humans and jinn, however, are tested through their ability to choose. This test determines their ultimate success or failure. As the Quran states, "Whoever does righteousness, it is for his own soul, and whoever does evil, it is against it." Al-Jathiyah 45:15. The story of Azazil highlights the consequences of misusing free will. Although he was created to worship Allah and had knowledge of His commands, he allowed pride and arrogance to guide his choice, resulting in his downfall. This serves as a warning for all beings with free will. Choices have consequences, and misuse of this divine gift leads to punishment and regret. Humans, unlike Iblis, are provided with guidance, prophets, and scriptures to help them navigate the tests of life. They can learn from the mistakes of Azazil and the jinn, choosing humility over arrogance, obedience over defiance, and reflection over heedlessness. The Quran says, "Indeed, those who fear Allah among His servants are those who have knowledge."
This verse shows that knowledge without submission is incomplete. True understanding of creation, of Allah's wisdom, and of one's purpose must be coupled with humility, obedience, and righteous action. The existence of free will also explains why evil exists in the world. Rebellion, temptation, and sin are not random. They are consequences of the choices made by beings with intellect. Both humans and jinn are accountable for their actions, and their choices determine their ultimate fate in the hereafter. Reflecting on the purpose of creation, we realize that life is a test and every choice matters. Acts of worship, ethical conduct, kindness, and devotion are all manifestations of submission to Allah. Conversely, arrogance, pride, disobedience, and exploitation of knowledge are paths that lead to punishment, as exemplified by Iblis and the rebellious jinn. In essence, the story of the jinn and Azazil is a reminder of the responsibility that comes with free will. Humans are entrusted with intellect, reason, and the ability to make moral decisions. Unlike the angels, our choices are meaningful precisely because we have the freedom to act. This freedom is a trust, and every decision we make will be judged by Allah. By contemplating this, believers are encouraged to 1. Remain humble and avoid arrogance no matter their knowledge or status. 2. Seek guidance from Allah through prayer, reflection, and study of the Quran. 3. Make conscious choices that align with obedience, righteousness, and the pursuit of Allah's pleasure. The purpose of creation, therefore, is not only to worship Allah in ritual, but to live a life of conscious accountability, recognizing the unseen, respecting free will, and following divine guidance in every aspect of life. The story of the jinn, the creation of Adam, and the fall of Azazil offers timeless lessons for all of humanity. These lessons are not only about the unseen world, but also about the choices we make, the moral responsibility we bear, and the consequences of our actions before Allah. First, obedience to Allah is essential. Knowledge, intelligence, or previous devotion cannot substitute for submission to Allah's commands. Azazil's arrogance and refusal to obey illustrate how pride can corrupt even the most devoted beings. Humans, therefore, must approach life with humility, ensuring that their actions reflect sincere obedience, not personal ego or desire for status. Second, free will is a trust and a responsibility. Both humans and jinn are tested through the choices they make. Every decision, big or small, carries weight and consequences. The Quran reminds us, whoever does an atom's weight of good will see it, and whoever does an atom's weight of evil will see it. Al-Zalzala 99:7-8. This verse emphasizes that nothing is trivial in the sight of Allah. Every action counts, and our free will is the tool through which we navigate life and demonstrate our faith. Third, humility is a fundamental virtue. Arrogance led to the downfall of Azazil. It is pride, not ability or strength, that blinds a heart from the truth. Humans must guard against arrogance in knowledge, wealth, status, or physical ability. True success comes from recognizing our dependence on Allah and submitting to His guidance. Fourth, the story reminds us that temptation and misguidance are real challenges. Iblis and his followers exist to test human resolve, to whisper doubts and entice misbehavior. Yet, the Quran reassures us that sincere servants of Allah are protected. Indeed, my servants, no authority will you have over them. This teaches us vigilance, self-reflection, and reliance on Allah through prayer, remembrance, and righteous action. Fifth, knowledge must be coupled with obedience. Possessing knowledge alone is not sufficient. Azazil had knowledge of Allah and His commands, yet he allowed pride to dictate his actions. Humans are encouraged to seek knowledge, but that knowledge must lead to submission, ethical behavior, and spiritual growth. Finally, the stories of the Jinn and Azazil serve as a mirror for human behavior. They remind us that life is a test, that every choice matters, and that the unseen world is real and influential. Reflection upon these stories strengthens awareness, encourages humility, and inspires obedience. For humanity, the practical lessons are clear. 1. Be conscious of your intentions and actions, ensuring they align with Allah's commands. 2. Seek knowledge, but let it guide you to humility and obedience. 3. Guard your heart against arrogance and pride. 4. Stay vigilant against temptation, seeking refuge in Allah from misguidance. 5. Reflect on the unseen realms, recognizing that accountability extends beyond what is visible. By internalizing these lessons, humans can navigate life with purpose, humility, and devotion, avoiding the errors of Azazil while striving to fulfill the true purpose of creation, worship, and obedience to Allah. Reflect now. Are your actions guided by humility, obedience, and awareness of Allah's presence? Do you recognize the consequences of your choices and use your free will to follow the path of righteousness? The story of the Jinn and the fall of Azazil challenges each of us to examine our hearts, strengthen our faith, and remain steadfast in obedience. If this lesson has touched your heart, remember to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share your reflections in the comments below. Tell us, which lesson from the story of Azazil or the Jinn resonates with you the most, and how will you apply it in your life?
Dear viewers, the story of the Jinn, the creation of Adam, and the fall of Azazil offers guidance, warnings, and reflections that are just as relevant today as they were in the beginning of creation. We have learned that obedience to Allah is paramount regardless of knowledge, status, or power. Free will is a gift and a responsibility, and every choice carries consequences. Arrogance and pride can lead even the most pious beings to destruction. The unseen world is real, and we must be vigilant against temptation and misguidance. Knowledge alone is insufficient. It must be accompanied by submission and righteous action. These lessons remind us that our lives are a test, that humility and reflection are essential, and that sincere worship and devotion are the paths to Allah's pleasure. Reflect now. Are your choices guided by obedience, humility, and awareness of Allah's presence? How will you apply the lessons of Azazil's fall in your own life? If you found this video enlightening, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share your reflections in the comments. Let us know which lesson impacted you the most, and how will you implement it in your daily life. May Allah guide us, protect us from arrogance and misguidance, and allow us to be among His obedient servants.
Amin.